Governing hosted an invited group of state and local government leaders in Washington, D.C. for its first ever summit on the cost of government in September 2010. At a time of permanent financial crisis, when there is little prospect of returning to fiscal balance, how do we go forward? Governing correspondents interviewed leaders from across the country in search of answers. In this segment, Why Leadership Matters, now more than ever. Here's what they had to say.
What's the single most important quality that a leader can have in order to be innovative?
If you have a person at the top who says it's the principles I care about, right? I'm not going to get sucked down into the politics. I'm going to stand up to the media when appropriate. My obligation is to the taxpayers, protect them, and you're okay. That is what you need in a leader. Innovation is somewhat difficult now because of the media gotcha attitude. And if you, as an elected official, maintain the status quo, albeit a very mediocre one, then you don't get in trouble. So leadership to me means a person, in my current situation, Mayor Bloomberg, who says, I support innovation. I'll back you up if the innovation doesn't work, as long as it's well-intentioned and well thought out, and I will inoculate you, if that's the right word, from illegitimate attacks from other political officials or from the press. That's the role of the leadership. Provide the resources, provide the political coverage, and encourage the people that work for you to take chances.
Any leader who's interested in pursuing a little bit farther than you think others are willing to go ahead and be brave enough to ask that question. Because more likely than not, there are people in the wings who are just dying for that question to be asked so that they can bring their courage, bring their creativity, dispel the myths that government bureaucrats are not creative or not nimble or not interested in efficiency or effectiveness. Just go ahead and ask the hard question and see what kind of answers can blossom in that environment.
Are there lessons you see in managing the state workforce that are particularly important?
If you really want to tap the true value of the employee workforce, I think it's the leader's job and responsibility to help the employees understand their place in the overall function of the agency and to show them the full value of what they're contributing to the workforce and to the goals of the agency. It's not the employee's responsibility really to learn what their value is. It's the leader's responsibility to teach. And I think an effective leader that can show the employees the value of the end product will end up with a much better process because the employees will gain ownership much more clearly to the outcomes if they understand what it is they're doing.
Diana, talk a little about sharing credit as a valuable leadership tactic.
If you start to share every good thing that happens, and I think I talked about the administrator of the Appropriations Committee, Susan Keene, 27 years in government. She knew all the ins and outs. So I started by asking her to teach me, which of course doesn't usually happen, a legislator going to a staff member and saying, teach me. And once she taught me all she knew about the ins and outs of government, I shared every success with her. And then we shared each success as we brought more people in and more agencies in. Every time there's a success, if I was interviewed, I'd talk about Susan Keene. I'd talk about Office of Fiscal Analysis, Program Review and Investigation. So by that, not only are you sharing, but they become stakeholders because my success is their success. And the flip side of that, Jonathan, that I think is really important is when things went awry, I always said, my bad. My fault, and then they'd go, well, no, wait, no, it's not exactly your fault. I said, yeah, no, I'm taking responsibility. Let's learn from this and go forward.
What's the most important quality that a leader needs to have in order to innovate?
Courage. Anytime you try something new and different, it's going to require courage. You're going to experience a lot of resistance, both from inside and outside the organization. And persistence and continuous attention to improvement and continuous communication is the only way to overcome that resistance. So you have to stick to your guns and persevere.
The difference maker in my 37 years in government really has been the talent and the commitment and the energy of the people that are holding these jobs. And when you get high talent people who are committed to wanting to do the right thing on behalf of the community or on behalf of the stated goals and so forth, you get a good answer.
Insights. They're a governing thing. In the magazine and at governing.com. Made possible through the support of NIC, the e-government people.